What's up, Straight Up Sister Squad? It's your girl, Roxy.
And I'm Last Susie.
And together we are
Straight Up Sisters, the podcast.
I'm the Bratty.
And I'm the boss.
And we love having those deep, intimate conversations where we often agree and disagree, but still love each other.
So if you love it served up with no chaser, then you're in the right place.
We are undoubtedly your favorite girls. You know who we are.
Straight Up Sisters, the podcast.
All right, y'all. Welcome to Straight Up Sisters, the podcast. We are slowly but surely
Winding down, getting close to the finish line.
winding down. I am officially 38 weeks pregnant this
You
week.
literally are the winding down. You're moving. This is the slowest I have ever seen you move. Even the other day after Mother's Day, Mel was cracking up. I looked at him and I was like, why are you laughing? Because he's literally sitting on the couch laughing. He was like, Raquel couldn't get up off the couch, baby.
I'm literally waddling now, you guys. And it's not even like you intentionally want to waddle when you're pregnant. Your body just kind of, I think it's carrying so much weight that it just naturally does that. And then it doesn't help that I have
you're
like
all belly.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I have like a massive back pain right now. That's normal for pregnant women. You just like, it's
I don't remember.
If I could describe pregnancy in one word, it's beautiful, but it's very uncomfortable. Right?
I don't remember being that. I don't remember.
I don't.
Can't tell you that my pregnancy was this or that. All I remember was that I was pregnant, but I don't remember those little tiny details.
Yeah, it's like
been 2
9
decades,
months
girl.
of discomfort. You're like completely out of your comfort zone, but it's just like all worth it. It's what I hear. It's all worth it.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at. We're literally winding down. But did we welcome them to Straight Up Sisters, the podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to Straight Up Sisters, the podcast.
Just making
I think
sure.
we always start like that.
Just making sure that you know you're tuned into your favorite sisters. Okay.
I mean, Raquel.
Yeah, it's right behind us. I mean, the sign can't get any bigger than this. Seriously. Anyways, what is my highlight or my rant? I don't even know if I have one today, to be honest. Life is pretty good. Life is chill. I'm just waiting for the grand arrival of this little princess.
Have you started nesting?
That she's gonna be. My mom affirmed it today. She was like, "Your daughter is gonna come to change the world," and I was like, "Duh, she's a product of me.
Duh.
Like she has a purpose, and I'm gonna make sure that like I let her know that. I verbalize it. Like,
I mean, you don't
tú
know.
tienes un gran
You don't know
propósito,
how
Roselyn."
important that is because the world is constantly, because they have so much access to it. It's so different than when we were growing up.
Yeah,
They have so much access to the world that's going to give them a completely different message, right? The world's going to always tell them that they're not good enough. They have to use a filter, that their body has to look a certain way. Their fashion has to be a certain way, right? Like keeping up with the Joneses. So they're going to be constantly fed that negative message that they have to have that reaffirmation from you.
yeah.
That it's okay to stand out from the crowd. It's okay if you don't want to move how they move. Like that's what makes you unique. That's what makes you special. I mean,
Yeah.
constant from the minute that they come out, you have to always remind them.
I'm gonna
because
drive
it's
that
like
message home.
swimming upstream because the messaging that they get is strong. Like
Yeah.
they take it to heart so intensely.
Yeah.
And I think it's more challenging for girls.
Well, I'm just excited that she's gonna have me as her coach.
And me.
And Susie.
Girl, you swear you're gonna be the only influence.
I
She's
know
gonna-
I'm not gonna be
The
the only
first thing
influence.
she's gonna learn to say, guess what?
Puta.
70-30.
Oh my God. The reason I said puta, you guys, is because we're Salvadorian and the Salvi culture. My dad had this thing where
No, Mama
my-
Mati.
Oh, I thought it was my dad.
No.
Our great grandmother, puta is like, well, you know, the literal term of puta is a whore.
Slut.
Right? But in the Salvadorian culture, puta is like saying, oh shit, a la gran puta. And so
It has many meanings.
my dad taught us how to say puta as
Mama Mati.
as our first word. But yeah, thank God we don't say that on like, it's
I
not
did
like a
not
clutch.
teach Robert to say that word.
Yeah, but it's not like a default word that we use too much.
No.
Thank God. It is kind of out there. But
We are more Americanized
We are.
Salvadorians
yeah.
than some other more deeply rooted Salvadorians.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So what is my highlight today? I don't really have one. I'm just happy. I'm flowing. I'm in a we're gonna learn about the flow state today because I'm super excited about our guest. But before we do our highlight or our rant, should we introduce our guest?
Absolutely.
Yes. So
We should
okay.
have done that a long time ago. We're being so rude.
No, we're not.
Austin.
No, we're not. So
Say something next time, Austin.
So our guest today is how long have I known you for, Kurtis?
Oh man, maybe like
5 years?
6 years.
6 years? 5, 6 years?
Yeah.
We actually have gotten requests to bring you onto the show because I've talked about you before. Susie recently discovered Breathwork, right? And when I told Kurtis you discovered Breathwork, he was like, how did she really discover Breathwork if you're her sister?
I didn't just discover it. I just started practicing it.
Yeah.
I didn't just discover it, but I mean.
She just finally started embodying the practice of breathwork.
Yeah, she dove in.
She dove in.
And it's been a game changer.
Oh.
I love it. And so we've talked about it here many times. And the last conversation we had about breathwork here was my experience at my last session. I had a vision. It was my great grandmother, the one
that
we
would teach us how to say puta.
Yeah. And it was so beautiful. It was a very healing moment for me. So Raquel was like, oh, my friend Kurtis, he does breathwork. He's the master at it. Should we have him on the show? And everybody was like, absolutely, yes. And ladies and gentlemen,
he Kurtis. A round of applause for Kurtis.
Let's get it.
Thomas. That's such a powerful name, Kurtis. Has anybody ever told you your name? It just feels like powerful when you say it.
You know, some people have said that, but like when it's your name, it's like your voice. Like a lot of people don't like their own voice. Like your name, you hear it all the time. It's like whatever. But I've had people say like, "Oh, your name's like powerful." Like, "Oh, that's your author name." I'm like, "Nah, it's actually my real name."
You're like, "That's my legal name."
Well, look, he's written both of these books. The World Is Yours, and this is his newest one, Breathwork Detox: How to Thrive in an Age of Anxiety. So I'm gonna make you feel real special. I'm gonna read this bio of yours, very to the point. Kurtis Lee Thomas is a world-class keynote speaker and corporate mindfulness trainer who works with various Fortune 500 companies from Nike to NASA. He trains the top global brands, celebrities, and athletes to help bring awareness and solutions to the massive decline in mental health worldwide. Kurtis is also the chairman of Just Breathe Foundation, a nonprofit organization that helps children with anxiety by equipping single parents with the proper mindfulness tools and training. And
I love that.
And I'm so, so happy to have you on the show today because to me, I've taken breathwork classes with other people, right? They've invited me. I've gone. They paid for my ticket. It's a good way to get somebody to a breathwork class, pay for someone's ticket because they probably won't buy it themselves because they're like, what is this shit, right? And I feel like you describe and explain breathwork like nobody else I've met.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
Yeah, because people don't know what they're getting themselves into. And a lot of people are nervous, which really think about that. Were you nervous when you were going to do it? A little bit?
Not nervous. I was apprehensive, but I approach many things
that
way. So
she's a skeptic like you.
There's a lot of people who are nervous going to the breath work. And if you think about it, like, why would anybody be nervous to breathe?
Right.
Because the soul and the body has consciousness. It knows what's about to happen. So when you're going into breath work, you know, you might not know, you might have no idea, but you know you're going in there to really move energy, to really, shed the past. And those energies of the past don't want to go.
Ooh.
And that's the feeling that people have of that nervousness. It's not them, right? It's the old version of them.
Hey, do they not want to go or do we not want to let them go?
Both.
The old energies.
Yeah. They want to stay on. Like things that want to hold on. It's like what I tell everybody with breathwork, this is why it's so powerful, is because in order to let in, you have to let go. Ooh. And it's either let go or get dragged. And a lot of people are getting...
That's two shirts right there. I'm thinking about your merch line. You just said two things. Put that on a shirt, Kurtis.
That whole let go or get dragged, like that is meaty.
There's a lot of people getting dragged right now.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, yes. Gosh. Say that again. There is.
Because they don't want to let go. And then sometimes when the universe sees that, whether it's a person, a situation, a job, whatever it could be, the universe will see that it's not letting you go. So it has to let that person or situation hurt you even more to the point where you have to let go.
Yeah.
So being, conscious and aware of, things that you need to let go is really important. It's just as important as manifesting. And that's like what I talked about in the first book. It was all laws of the universe, manifesting. And that was almost 10 years ago, 2014. In hindsight, what I learned is you have to let go. You have to create space to let your blessings in your life. And a lot of people are self-sabotaging themselves because they haven't let go of old beliefs, right? Old thought patterns, old experiences, which are stories. And stories is just stored trauma.
Yep.
And the reason why we say
is that how you break down the word story? Story is stored trauma.
Yes. And we tell that story to validate our pain. And you have to figure
and again.
And that's what keeps it alive.
Yep.
And it lives inside of you, and that holds up space. It holds up real estate. And you need to evict those stories and those energies to let new stuff come in.
I have to tell you something. If I would have met you 15 years ago, my energy would have been fighting with your energy.
Why 15 years ago? What happened?
Because I wasn't in the place where she's at now.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't open to any of this. Probably because I knew it was true, but I was more comfortable getting dragged than I was letting go. That's why I think when you said that, it spoke to me because I know what it is to live in that space, and I know what it is to not live in that space anymore. And it gets somebody to understand that's not ready to understand that.
Yeah.
That's a super huge hurdle.
Yeah.
And we experience that a lot in the podcast based on the conversations that we have and the guests that we bring on. We bring on so many guests like you that are just wells of knowledge, that have books that they can reference, that have websites and programs that they could tap into. Yet, years later, they're still getting dragged. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why it takes so long for some people to finally say, this doesn't feel good to me. This hurts a lot. Yeah. And I don't want to do it anymore. Why is it that people live in that space versus saying, okay, it's been 5 years. Hold
on.
ready.
Are we going to do a highlight or a rant? Are we going straight into it?
Wait, let me answer it, then we can do it every minute. Okay. I want to answer the question.
Yes.
She might not come back to it. Everybody wants change, but nobody wants to change. And that's the thing. It takes energy, right? It takes dedication. It takes discipline, all the things that we run from. So it's actually more comfortable to kind of sit in your own junk. And that's the thing. When you sit in your own shit for too long, you stop smelling it.
We were just talking about that the other day.
A few episodes back, literally.
Yeah. And so you actually forget, believe it or not, you forget that you need help. You forget that you need change because you get in your comfort zone. And that comfort zone is actually your safety zone. So you feel safe, even though your life's a mess. I know. But that's it's I remember those Verizon commercials back in the day. It was the dead zone.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's your comfort zone. It's the dead zone. No opportunities are there. Your cell phone doesn't have reception. No one's calling you, with all these great opportunities and life-changing things. And you're comfortable, but you're not going to be able to grow. And people are so comfortable in their comfort zone that you have to venture outside of that, which is you finally saying, you know what? I'm going to try this breathwork thing. Let's see what this is about. Even if you're skeptical.
Yeah.
You're let's do it. What you did was you went outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And you continue to do it. And that's why you are growing so fast.
Yeah. And you want to hear something funny? So when I first got there, like I said, our energies would have clashed because I would have completely probably disagreed with what you were saying today, and my energy would have just been fighting me moving out of that comfort zone. But I go to my breathwork class, right, the first time. I want to say I started with Jen in October of last year. So I get there, and I'm skeptical, but my girlfriends have been going, and they're like, you have to join us. You're going to love it.
And she trusts them.
Yeah, I trust them. Mm-hmm. We're on the same wavelength, right? Same journey. So I get there, and I'm open to the experience, but I guess my energy was boop, shut off. Mm-hmm. So I greet the host, right? We do our thing. So now maybe this was in March. The last time, when I saw her in March, she said, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. And I was like, really? She's like, did you change your hair or your skincare? And I was like, no, everything's the same. But when I saw her, I greeted her with a hug, right? My
Mhm.
energy is different now.
Yeah. It's
She-
lighter.
And she was like, she just kept on staring at me. So I was like, maybe it's daylight savings, right? It's not nighttime. You can see me now in the daytime. I don't know. So we do our circle. I had an amazing experience. We share right when we're done. And she was like, I just can't stop staring at you. She's like, you are not the same person that walked in here like a few months ago. Your energy is completely different. And I've already done a whole lot of growth. I had not done though that modality. And it is, even though it's something as so simple as breathing, which we do on a daily basis so unconsciously, it's so transformational because it's not just breathing to survive. What sort of is, right? But it's like breathing to move the energy out, like you said. And it does.
Mhm.
It's freaking insane. So I can't wait for you to get into it and really educate our audience on Patreon what this is and the power behind it, because I tried to do it with my husband, and I've obviously, like, I'm not trained in
Yeah.
the matter. I just thought I could share with him what I was
Oh
doing.
my God. You
And
got to
it ended
show
up
Kurtis
being
the video.
funniest video because he was trying so hard to concentrate, and I just couldn't
He
take
was
him
taking
serious.
it serious.
I
but
couldn't take him
Susie
serious.
started cracking up because he actually was doing the like the
Yeah.
way to do it. He was doing it correctly,
Yeah.
but then she started busting up, and then I think they just
He looked like he was in pain, but maybe we all look like that. I just happened to open my eyes
it was
when we were
hilarious.
breathing, and I got to see the look on his face. But it was so funny. But anyhow,
Yeah, we're gonna
Ranner highlight.
we're gonna get into deep into breath work and this book, because this book has been read by a lot of heavy hitters, right? Oprah, Beyonce, who else?
Oh,
Kanye,
man. Kim,
Snoop.
Kanye, Snoop, Joe Rogan, Lady Gaga, and all types of people got
How did you get this book in their hands?
either, like, I'd say 80% of them were people I met, and I personally handed them the book, and a lot of people reached out to me afterwards saying they read it. Not everyone reads it. Sometimes they'll pass it along. Like, I gave the book personally. I handed it to Steve Forbes, chairman, CEO of
Mhm.
Forbes. I gave it to him, and I seen him do a little shovel pass, but however, I get a Facebook message from his security or whatever, and his security reached out and said, "Listen, I read your book, and my daughter read the book too, and we never had a good relationship. And since we both read the book, it's all we do is talk about your book. And you helped our relationship so much and changed our lives. I had to reach out to you personally and say thank you."
Wow.
That's what that book was intended for that day.
Yeah. So I get stories like that all the time. One time I remember, like, I was like hustling, getting the book out to everybody. And one day I was just like, you know what? Maybe I'm like doing too much. Like, I don't know. Maybe I should just fall back. And that day I got a FaceTime call. And I answered it. I normally don't answer FaceTime numbers. I don't know.
What
But
made you answer that one?
I don't know.
Intuition.
Yeah, because I answered it and then boom, it's Waka Flocka. I was like,
Wow.
oh. He's like, dog. I'm like, hey, bro. He's like, man. He goes, listen, I had to find you, hit you up, and let you know your book changed my life. He's like,
And
your
he
book
has
changed my
had
life.
he has had a transformation.
Oh yeah, he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this book, I mean, it's the awakening, the secrets behind the secret. So you talk about all kinds of different laws in here.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's like, think about
It's-
life as like the puzzle. Like, life's a puzzle, right? What I feel that book does, because we all have more questions than we have answers.
Yep.
So what
Have
that
a
book does,
ton of questions.
it takes the outer edges of the puzzle and gives you all the outer edges. So now you're like, oh, all the puzzle pieces and things you pondered and wonder about, you're able to connect the dots and make really sense of life and things that, a lot of taboo things as well.
And there's so
Yeah,
much.
oh my God, I
think,
love
like,
that.
conflicting information, which I think is done intentionally, right, to keep us not
Confused.
on the same page and confused. But there's so much conflicting information out there when you start to plug in now, like religion,
Mhm.
right? Because there's so many religions. There's not even
Yeah.
people can't even agree as to how the world began, or like if
Yeah.
there's just one central religion. So the confusion starts there. So, and I think from there, right, the confusion creates conflict, disagreement, and so it creates more questions and more distance and more
who was right
confusion.
and who was
and
wrong.
it's like, so who people are just, we're out here like spinning, constantly spinning, because who's right and who's wrong, per se.
Yeah. It does a lot. Having confusion, to me, like confusion's temporary insanity. So it is a big, powerful weapon that they use. And it creates fights, it creates turmoil, and it's actually a tactic in hypnotherapy. So
Really?
yeah, people who have really powerful conscious minds, like I'd probably do it on Raquel. If you have powerful conscious minds, you have to put them under differently. But
You
one,
know what? I've tried hypnotherapy twice,
and you couldn't do it.
They couldn't hypnotize me.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
Yeah.
one of the
Do
tactics
you think you could?
is you. Oh my,
He said, "Girl, you're hypnotized right now.
It
You
already
don't even
it's
know
already
it."
beginning. You just gotta let me keep going. No, I'm joking. You confuse the conscious mind. You confuse it. And there's little tactics you do, and you confuse it, and that allows you direct access to the subconscious mind. So the more confused you are, the more controllable you are.
Yes.
So they know exactly what they're doing.
So do you think that like these cult leaders understand that concept, and that's how they get to like mind control their followers?
Yeah, like
Yes,
they'll
of
even hit like
course.
they'll use bells in the back to like it's all that. It's all extremely manipulative. All
Because I
that.
don't understand the whole how anybody could be part of a cult.
Well, we're gonna interview somebody that escaped the cult
know.
very soon, which I cannot wait. But are we ever
can't
gonna
wait.
get to the highlight or the rant? Do you have a highlight or a rant, Curtis?
For what? Like recently or
in life.
today?
Yeah,
Anything,
life,
whatever you
and
want.
Just, life, whatever. You may have one or you may not.
Man, I don't know. I just know that I've been doing a lot of traveling. And, I'd say people who travel, if you're feeling called to travel, it's not just about traveling and seeing. It's actually the soul calling you somewhere. And I know I might go a little deep here. However, when you travel to places, you're actually picking up lost aspects and fractals of your own soul from previous lifetimes. And you pick up consciousness codes that only that land has. So think of it like Pokemon, right? You get the Pokemon and then you can go and collect things.
Mhm.
That's what traveling is. So you can actually have spiritual awakenings just from traveling.
I believe that.
So that
I
explains.
mean, your trip to that mountain. What is that mountain called that you went to?
Shasta? Oh,
It was like you had to get transported on a helicopter.
that was the Himalayas.
The Himalayas. That
Yeah.
trip did that challenge you?
Yeah, I mean, I almost died. I didn't know what I was
What?
doing. I'm from the city.
He
I went in January to the Himalayas.
For what?
and he had to get because I follow, of course, if you guys don't follow Kurtis on Instagram, he is Man from the Stars, which you could explain that to
He
Susie
said,
later.
Of course, I almost died.
But yeah, I mean, he had to get transported to his hotel on a helicopter. That's how inaccessible it was. And then I think you were saying none of the heaters worked.
No, there was no. So it's the highest elevation hotel, and there was I was the only person staying there. I was the only guest. I was the only person in the hotel.
They stay open for business for one guest.
Yeah, and there was no heat, no hot water, no running water. And at one point I didn't prepare, so like while I'm up there, I'm having nosebleeds and my limbs are going numb. I just started stealing blankets from all the other beds, and I'm just under there like this, like, am I gonna make it? And I was supposed to leave in 2 days, and then I was like, you know what? I gotta call that helicopter to see if you pick me up in the morning time. But my spirit told me to stay. And it was the
dug it
last.
out?
You went on a
I dug
hike,
it out. I
Curtis.
dug it out, and I hiked, and then I got lost, and that was a good.
Curtis,
Okay, and what do
can
you
I
think your
ask you-
spirit was telling you?
Yeah,
that
can I ask
trip?
you like what was your purpose and what did you learn?
It was a complete spiritual journey. So I started in Egypt, and from Egypt went to like Luxor, the pyramids, and then from there I went to Israel. So I was in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Galilee, Bethlehem, all
You were
all
where
those
Jesus was.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, it was great. And then from there I went to Rishikesh, India. Which Rishikesh, India, have you ever heard that place?
No.
It's the yoga capital of the world. So when I went there, I remember I was texting in the taxi cab, and I'm texting, and all of a sudden I was like, I smelled something. I was like, and I look up and it said, "Welcome to Rishikesh," and the whole place smells like incense, like literally from the gate the whole time. I even went up the mountain 2 hours in a car. I opened the car door, still smelled incense.
Still?
Oh
It's-
my god.
It was crazy. It was the only time I ever experienced that, and it's like, if I was to explain it, it's like a spiritual New York City. So it's not like homeless people. You got the people in like the robes, like burning the incense on the side, and then you have like everything is yoga this, chakra this, heart love this. And,
Rishikesh,
Did you feel at
is
home
that
there?
where-
I didn't, maybe in another lifetime, but I would definitely go again. It
You
was
know the
like,
guy that started the have you seen the documentary Wild Wild Country?
yeah.
Is that where he was from, Rishikesh?
I think so. It was a bunch
'Cause
of
it-
yogis like that. I'm not sure
It
where.
sounds very familiar, and I think that's where he originally started his.
Yeah, he has an
like
ashram
a
there or
cult.
something. Yeah.
I thought he got ran out of there
I don't know.
because he
Probably.
went to Utah, I think, or Colorado, and started literally his whole like
The Wild Wild West, the
country,
whole.
the Wild Wild
Yeah,
Country.
yeah, I
Did
watched
they-
it.
Did they?
seen that?
Yeah,
That-
I did. Did they consider him a cult leader? Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, man, he was. I don't want to blow it for anyone who's gonna watch it, but that was a good
That was
documentary.
a good documentary.
That was a good
Susie
documentary.
recommended that documentary to me on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that was.
Wild Wild
It,
West.
it had me. I was like, oh wow, this is
So then after India,
So then after India, I went to Nepal, and then after Nepal is when I went to the Himalayas and Everest, and then that was like, it was just a good trip for me because one, I knew I had to go alone, and I just did one backpack, so alone, one backpack, 6 weeks, all those places. And the key was I wasn't supposed to know where I was going, so
how
there
were
was
you
no like
guided?
hotels booked, there was no like anything. I would show up and I'd say, okay, Spirit, bring me my guide. And then I'd meet somebody, he'd be a guide, I'd hire him, he'd show me around. Okay, what hotel? I'm out on my pendulum, asking what hotel. And then boom, okay, I'm supposed to stay at this hotel. And everything was on the whim. So
Oh my god.
yeah, it
that's
was
amazing. It sounds scary, but amazing.
it was scary, and that was the point of it,
Mhm.
is to like put yourself, just out there. Because
I feel
now
like you need to meet Humble the Poet.
have you heard of Humble the Poet? He's an
No.
author as well.
Really?
We had him on our show.
Oh, no.
And he's very much like that. Like he challenges his mind and
Yeah.
his body and his spirit all the time
Yeah.
to just have more and more breakthroughs. Like he's literally out there, which I feel that you do the same, looking for things that are going to elevate you by challenging you. Like
Yeah.
you run into the fire instead of like a lot of people run away from the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's
true.
amazing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
fun.
so there it is. That's your highlight. Traveling does do something to the soul.
Well, I
Yeah.
was gonna say that
100%.
explains too. Then, like back to what you said, why you visit some places and it just feels so good to you.
Exactly.
Like you've never been here before, but for some reason you feel connected at that moment, or you feel
Yep.
peaceful, or you feel like covered by something or embraced almost.
Yep.
That explains it.
Yeah. People are like, I don't know what it is. I just feel like I need to go to Peru, or I need to go wherever it is for them, because they do.
They do.
They need to go there.
We
Yeah.
visited. I recently came back from Belize, and we visited Mayan ruins there. It was called Tikal, the biggest developed ruins I have yet to see. And when we got to the courtyard where these enormous two pyramids stood, it felt so good to me.
Mm.
Like just it felt like majestic. Like I've been here before, or I belong here. I don't know how to explain it. And we're not Guatemalan. My family is from El Salvador. However, the Mayan tribes, they were all over,
Yep,
that
Central
part
America.
of Central America. So who knows if me or somebody else of my lineage was there,
Maybe
or
you
how.
were a Mayan goddess back in the days and you don't know
Yeah,
it.
bitch, I'm still a
And
Mayan
you were just
goddess.
like you were just like in that zone of like, I remember this. It feels familiar. Maybe.
Yeah, it felt like I even told Mel, like, I didn't want to leave that place. And it was hot. And we had walked 20,000 steps just to get to that place. So it wasn't like it was the easiest of trips either. But when we got there, I was like, I don't want to leave here. Like, this place feels so good. All of that Belize felt that way to me. Mel and I both, but I think me mostly, like, I didn't want to leave. Like, I could have been there for a month easy and just
Wow.
gotten lost in
Yeah.
what that country has to offer,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
What's your highlight and what's your rant?
I don't have one either.
Me either.
I'm just happy to be in this
Yeah,
conversation.
me too. I'm like really excited to have you on the show, Kurtis, because I want to talk. I feel like this show is really going to resonate with people that are feeling stuck.
Yeah.
Right? That are feeling stuck in that story, that are feeling emotionally stuck, spiritually stuck, and they're just like suffered from anxiety and depression. I really want you to get into that story because I
Yeah.
remember you sharing that story with me one time that you were heavily medicated because of your
Self-medicated,
anxiety.
yeah.
Self-medicated because of your anxiety at one point. And I think that we hear a lot about anxiety from women, but to be able to hear it from a man and what your experience was and how you made a choice to kind of like snap out of it because of different healing modalities that you came across. Like, I feel like your soul guided you. Our soul guides all of us, now that I think about it.
Yeah, but everybody doesn't, not everybody listens.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the difference.
we all get those nudges or that guidance, but not all of us are willing to listen. I just read something the other day and it said, like, don't ask why God doesn't answer your prayers when he is. You're just not listening, or you're just not paying attention. Something to that effect. I think we all get those, you know, those winks from God or those nudges or that direction, but because of fear or lack of more knowledge, it feels safer here, even though it hurts me. But at least I know this pain versus the unknown of what's out there.
See, and I've always been kind of like the opposite. Like, I don't like being dragged. You know how you were like, at one point in your life, you were just like, you would prefer to be dragged.
I didn't prefer to be dragged, but I knew
it felt more comfortable.
I knew what dragging felt like, and I knew at least I can fight against that if I had to. Like, I was survival of the fittest versus releasing myself from that and putting myself in a whole other vulnerable situation that I had to relearn. Like, I completely understood what you meant when you said that because I lived it.
Yeah. It's like I look at people, and I used to be one of those people, but you know, like, ever meet somebody, or maybe it's one of you guys, like if you get sick, whether it's from drinking or whatever, and you feel like you're going to throw up.
Yeah.
Right? And you hold it in. And you hold it in, and you hold it in, and you hold it in, and you wait till the very last minute till you actually have to. But like when you do that, that is like a clear indication of how people like to hold on to toxic energy.
Oh,
yeah.
Because that's toxic energy. And you know, once you get it out of your system, you're going to feel better.
Feel better.
Yeah.
But you still hold on to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just people are really accustomed to holding on to toxic people, situations, energies, and they're afraid to let go because it might be a little bit painful to let go and release, but you know you're going to feel better afterwards.
Oh my gosh, 100%. I cannot wait to get into this conversation.
Yeah, and one thing that I always remember you tell me, Kurtis, about breathwork is like 20 years of therapy without saying one word. And to me, that's like, whoa. And I think anybody listening to me say that is like, I need to learn more about this, like instantly, right? Because a lot of people resist therapy.
Yeah.
Right? So they're just like, how can I get 20 years of therapy without saying a word? What? I am so tuned into this conversation. So we're coming back straight up Sister Squad to get into this deep, juicy conversation with Kurtis. I'm super happy you're here. It was like long overdue, right?
Yes.
We had a request to have you on the show.
I'm here.
It's those eyes, Kurtis. We're coming right back, all right? With Kurtis, aka
Man from the Stars.
Ooh, that was good.